Kids can't read. A third of students can't read at a basic level. The reading gap has worsened, and while other countries are performing well in reading, the US is on a decline. But why is this the case? And is there anything that parents and educators can do to fix this reading crisis? Stick to the end of this video for that, and let's get straight into it. First, let's talk about social media and motivation. A lot of times, it feels like reading isn't really incentivized. Yes, they give you homework assignments to complete, but students only do that to complete the assignment. They're not actually interested in reading as a hobby. So long as they read the book that they're supposed to and get a passing grade from it, chances are they're not going to touch that book ever again. But what about reading for enjoyment? Reading as a way to pass time, rather than endless scrolling on social media. Now, I'm not saying kids shouldn't be on social media, but they're spending way too much time on those platforms, mindlessly going through reels that don't benefit their mind. And because they're getting quick dopamine hits through every single reel that they scroll past, it activates the reward system in their brain, which gets them hooked to that kind of content and makes them less interested in reading a book. And honestly, I don't blame them, especially after a long day of school. All you would want to do is wind down, and the chances are they're not going to use a book to do that. So already from the get-go, it almost leaves little room for kids to read for enjoyment. They're only incentivized to read to complete the assignments, but they can never find the joy in reading by themselves. Now let's talk about the students that struggle with reading. And a lot of that is due to how the school system is set up. Because teachers and parents are so hyper-focused on grades, reading becomes more about speed and memorization than comprehension. Now, I'm not saying this is for all grade levels across many classes, but how come we're not looking at the students in the back of the class? The ones that act like they're reading, but really aren't. And the thing is, everyone wants to blame the teachers, but one person cannot manage 100 students a day and look at their individual reading struggles. That's near impossible. Not to mention that everyone struggles in reading in their own type of way. And all these struggles are valid, but what are we doing to fix it? Nothing. Because once the school year's over, they just pass you on to the next grade. You'll figure it out later. It's like, are we really here to learn or to just pass tests? And school is further proving the latter every single day. I could talk about reading struggles all day, but what is the solution to all of this? Because we can't trust public school to teach our students properly, the responsibility of reading has to fall on the parents. They need to incentivize their kids to read more, even outside of school hours. And even more than that, if you're able to, you can homeschool your child and teach them reading from there. And that's exactly what my parents did. They pulled us out of school in 2020 and started homeschooling us. And throughout my homeschooling years, I've read so many books. Books that public school would consider far beyond my reading level. This book that I have right here is called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. This was around 2020, so I was 14 when we began reading this. My younger sister was 12 and my youngest sister was 8. And people would call this book college level. But we were reading it before we even entered high school. Our reading skills grew significantly. Learning to read aloud to my siblings, these high-level books, helped me become a much better speaker. And that's the power of reading. But to unlock this power, we must give students challenging books. Books that stretch them far beyond what they're used to. Not just books on their grade level, like they give you in public school. And when you give them these books, expect them to be bored, expect them to find it not interesting, and expect them to be unable to read it. That's the whole point. But through trial and error, through pushing through that wall barrier in their mind, eventually, they won't just be able to read the sentences in those books, they'll be able to comprehend the concepts as well. And that's the key, comprehension. My parents didn't trust the school system to handle our education. My reading journey in homeschooling started with Joe Dispenza. But maybe you have your own book that you've read as a parent that you'd like your children to know about, but maybe you thought it was too high level for them to understand. My advice for you would be to try it. Give them the chance to read harder material. And if they don't understand the words, take it through with them again. Ask them more questions until it starts to click. And encourage group discussions about the book's topics as well. And this advice is not coming from me, but from what my mom and dad did. The goal in reading should be to soak up concepts like a sponge and apply them later. Kids are being left behind when it comes to reading. And this is due to public school and the system it's built upon. The only way to fix this is not coming after public school, because it's unrealistic to overhaul an entire system overnight. What's more realistic is to be mindful of each child's individual reading struggles and figure out what that child needs to improve their reading. And I think this is the most effective way to fix this, because the parent knows their child better than the school system. Let's encourage reading more. Make it fun, but challenging. And if we can accomplish this, we'll see tremendous improvement in student reading. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.